Rosann, we've known each other for 3 decades.
Yes, a long time.
And you have been a professional counselor.
As you have been a professional counselor, how many people have we known in Hong Kong?
Yes, quite a lot.
So many different people.
And so many changes.
And that's why we want to think about women now and women then, and how women have changed over these years.
That must be very interesting.
Yes.
And it covered different generations.
Always.
Well, if they're interested in what we are talking about, how are they going to find us?
They're going to find us Tuesday night, 9 o'clock, PsychoAlchemy. We are Women Now and Then.
See you there.
Hello again, everyone. It's the session you've been waiting for. Money, money, money. We talked about Women Now and Then. We talked about identity. We talked about what we do when we're not here, having a conversation with all of you. We talked about women over the ages and stages in their life. And so we're up to money.
Yeah.
Now, every woman I know tells me she needs more. Can that really be? And then I have questions about, what did women do before they were able to earn money? Today's women earn money. Life was different before they could earn money. But is money wealth? How much money do you need now? How much money will you need 5 years from now? Or 20 years from now?
Yeah, different stages
So
of
there's
life.
a lot of questions. And am I being paid what I'm worth? Is money the only way you can be paid? Does money show respect? My goodness, there's a lot of questions.
Well, Rosann, when you were talking about so many things we can talk about money. Actually, I've done my homework before this episode.
Yes.
I try to check on a lot of books that I have on money. Actually, it's more on economics, finance.
Yes.
None of my women's book really have a chapter on money. I have a book, I really love it a lot, is on women's well-being.
Yes.
And I assume there must be some chapter on money. And then I was surprised. They didn't even have a special chapter for that. They have a little section.
Yes.
Maybe 4 pages out of a 300 pages book. But then I realized that book was published in the 90s.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe today, like the book you shared with us last week, about the 100 years, right?
Yes, it's
so
changed.
Maybe now it's totally different. But then I can imagine, like my mom's age, right? Well, she was born in the 1930s, and she gone through the war, and then Hong Kong had moved from a pretty, I would say, quite poor state into such a, today is like one of the very glamorous cities of the world. Right? But the thing is, they had such a good habit of saving money. So a lot of older women, no matter where they come from, where they were when they were young, they managed to make a good life in a way, because they work, they save. If they don't work, when their husband give them money, they save it up, right?
Oh yeah.
But I was totally shocked when I talk to the young people these days, especially the 20s, 30s. Some of them taught me a new concept that I never had before. They call this, I'm only spending my future income.
Okay,
right?
That's what you think, sweetheart.
Right.
Yeah.
So they assume they have income in the future. That's a very big assumption. The second thing is, when you say you are spending your future income, actually you are not making enough money now. You are assuming that in the future that you will have the money and can pay off all your debt, right? Or your credit card, right? So I was totally shocked. In like within 80 years, not even 80 years, less 40 years, the whole money concept has changed dramatically. And I was so worried about the young people these days. If they are going to live up to 100 or even 120, if they haven't started saving when they were
Yes.
30, 40, how can they suddenly have money for their like older age retirement? So that's a very important topic, especially when there's so little we talk about women and money.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and we feel not comfortable talking about money, our money needs, our financial needs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we have a lot of different concepts going on here, and we'll try to get to them one on one. Let's do it personally. How did your mother teach you? Do you ever remember early conversations about money? What was your mother trying to tell you about money?
Okay, let me tell you the Eastern way, my way.
Okay.
Well, since I was born in the late 50s, early
Yes.
60s, right? It's so easy. I think ever since I was a child, maybe when I was 3, my first gift from my parents are actually a piggy bank, right? But at that time, it's not that fancy. It's not a piggy thing. It's more like a ceramic thing that you have a little thing on top. You put the coins inside, right?
Yes.
Now, few years later, it turned into a piggy bank. But that was so powerful.
Yes,
Learning
to save your money.
because that's the first thing my parents will teach me. And actually, my father was so observant. He immediately know that it's so much easier to teach his son, my brother, because my brother is more like him, will be very careful when selecting things. So my father knew for sure that my brother is not going to be a big spender. Whereas observing the daughter, that's me, whenever I go to, at that time there's no 7-Eleven, it's like those little mom and pop store, little shop, and I would just run, oh, I like chocolate, oh, I like this, I like cookies. So he already know if he is not teaching the daughter how to start saving money at an early stage, there's no way I can support myself as I get older. So my mom brought this, and we go through and more like a exercise on how to do this.
Really?
Yeah. And also one thing about those ceramic piggy banks, there is no bottom.
Yes.
That means
you must break it.
You must break it. You know
break
what
the
I
bank.
did? You know what I did? Me and my brother, we all start with the same thing at the beginning of the year. So at that time, maybe 10 cents, 20 cents, that's a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Occasionally, we may have a $1. It's a lot of money. You know, my brother is so good. He just keep on saving money. Whereas me, as the woman then, right, I already had developed a pretty bad habit. I would secretly went into my mom's makeup table where there's a mirror, and I will find a tweezer.
Tweezers.
That pluck the eyebrow.
Yes.
And my little hand will use the tweezer
and
get into the little hole
wow.
and try to grab the coin out from it. So, but the thing is, they notice, how come after a while my thing is still empty, whereas my brother's is already half full.
Goodness. Yes.
So what my father immediately do is, okay, Dorothy, might be a good daughter. At the end of the year, if you manage to save this piggy bank, we open it and we'll count the money.
Ooh.
I will double it up for you.
Oh. He was already teaching principles of investment. My goodness.
Incentive program.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great story.
Yes, I think that is so important lesson.
Yes.
All of people of my generation,
Yeah.
we all went to it's a big thing. We went to the bank. I remember at that time it's either Hong Kong Bank or Standard Chartered. Most people would go to Hong Kong Bank, but people go to Standard Chartered because they use Donald Duck as their piggy bank. The feature.
Bank?
The bank. Yeah. And people just like Donald Duck, so they will go for it and open our first saving book. And
wow.
that was a very important lesson.
Oh, you went to the bank with your parents?
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
of
my
course.
mom will every year with the Chinese New Year money together everything, and we'll just put the money together. It's like a big thing. Together we go into the bank, we deposit into a little bank book. I think at the time mom signed it,
Ooh.
but somehow this is yours, this is your brother's. Yeah. So we are a lot of, it's like
Yeah.
comparing. But
Yes.
still, I'm a big spender compared to
Ah.
my brother. I think when he left Hong Kong to New York
Yeah.
for university study, we opened up his bed. Underneath the bed, there's a big drawer. I think he had over 20 piggy bank. He secretly
Really?
buy it and he keep it. And my mom just opened every one and put all the money into the bank. At that time was like almost $4,000 to $5,000. That's a lot of money,
Wow, he wasn't
right?
spending.
I don't have
You
that
didn't
kind
have
of
that.
saving.
You
right.
didn't have
but
that.
my
Isn't
father
that something?
incentive program.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, I think I was about 10 or 11 when we started a squirrel account at the local
squirrel.
bank. You squirrel away your money.
Okay,
You save
okay.
it there.
Uh-huh.
I had such a difficult time trying to figure out what are you saving it for? Yeah,
No
what
idea,
happens? What does saving really mean?
Uh-huh.
Well, along about that time, many of my clothes came from my cousins, but
yes.
I needed a new coat. So my mother said to me, "It will be your money." And I thought, why are we using my money? It's your coat. You want a new coat. And I was very sad. We were actually going to use the money.
My money.
I thought the idea was to keep saving it.
Yeah.
So that was my first discussion with my mom on the use of money. But she loved that word savings. Loved that word savings. Now, my mother and her mother, this is interesting practice, had a savings account, a small savings account in a bank that my father did not know about.
Oh.
But because I was a child going with my mother we're going to the store, we're going to the shop, okay, we're going to the bank. Don't tell your father. And that was my introduction to women seem to have conversations about money that the men don't know about.
Okay.
Now, my grandfather didn't know about it either. But then I wonder, did those men know that
We
the
have
mother
secret
and the
money.
daughter? And then I found out my mother had 3 sisters.
They
Each had bank accounts with the mother. Joint savings.
Yes.
Mother
yes.
and daughter, mother and daughter, mother and daughter. And that was for the daughter, unless the mother needed money. Now, mothers and savings, mothers and savings. I think I must have been a teenager before my mother released
that
that
money.
account.
So you are solely the owner of that money. She
Well,
will
it's
not
just
get it from you.
When she got married, but did they not trust the marriage? There had to be, what did the parental family, my mother's parents, think? That, oh, this guy might not support her, so we better keep some money for her. Very interesting.
Well, that is cross-cultural.
yes.
Same with Chinese.
No.
Exactly the
Really?
same. Maybe your Italian background
My
and my
Ita-
Chinese background is the same.
Maybe just poverty, Dorothy. That women worried about their daughters having
Well,
money.
maybe
Really?
that's true. But exact same word. My mom will say that, you should keep some money
In your
secretly
name.
in your name. And when before I start going out with boys and have relationship,
Yes.
my mom also suggests we have joint account.
Yes.
Yeah, the joint account concept I can understand, mainly not because for her protection. It's mainly for in case something happened, she can always get the money and help me. Right.
Yes.
So I really appreciate that. And also the whole idea that Chinese had another saying, apart from keeping some money on your own for the just in case, we also believe comparing whether you have a son. Chinese believe the son will take care of the family, right?
Oh.
And usually the mother rely on the son to take care. They said, what is better, a son close to you or money close to you? And they always recommend money close to you is more important than son close to you. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's like we call it the master assessment. Ever since we were young,
Yeah.
we have that concept. We need to keep some money for our own sake. That is very important. But because of that, you can imagine all the funny little tricks the mother, especially the stay-home mother, will create in order to keep money secretly from the husband. And that's a lot of funny story and jokes.
Stories.
Yeah.
Now, there is something related to that.
Yes.
My mother and her mother and my aunts, they all had something called a Christmas club.
Okay.
Where 4, 5, 6 women would pool their money from the market. They didn't have jobs, but instead of spending the money on groceries, might be $1 a week, $2 a week would be a lot.
Yes.
But if one woman has $2, but 5 women, then there's $10.
Yeah.
So if a woman needed money, she could borrow from the Christmas club. But if no one borrowed, then they would save it until late November, early December, and then each woman could take out her money.
Yes.
And she'd have a lot of money.
Yes.
$2 a month for a whole year, $24. $4 a month, you see, she has money. Now, some of those clubs were in a bank, and some were not in a bank. What I find so challenging about that is that 4 or 5, maybe 6, maybe 8 women would agree to trust each other. And it makes it easier. If a woman's a little short one week, then she says, oh, but you better pay it next week because you know you will need that money. So there was wisdom in the collective of women helping each other to learn how to save.
Very much similar. Oh, I see a lot of similarities.
Did you?
Yeah, we actually have more or less the same thing. And I don't think it's not totally for women. Actually, as you said, maybe mainly because of poverty.
Yes.
Neighbors support each other. You live in the same area, you create this sort of, we call it the monthly...
a monthly thing.
Right. So whenever maybe one husband want to start a business, not enough money, they will go back and try to get it. But sometimes if you need money and I need money, they need to secretly sort of beat on the money. I never understand how it works, but so far I heard a lot of older people said those money really help out the family, help out something happened, maybe someone got sick or an accident. It's more like a support network.
It's money and support. You get help. You don't have to have it alone. You don't have to have it alone. So we see that money has emotional connections.
Right.
First thing we know about money, it's not just the cold cash. It's the relationships.
Yes.
And that's where we are with money.
Yes.
It's the relationships. What do you need the money for? What does money mean to you? That's where we're going to pick up the next segment.
Dorothy 啊，啲人咧成日話我哋9型人格嘅4號仔咧，就硬係咧好多愁善咁，有份外多情嘅喎。你點睇呢一樣嘢？
咁就見仁見智嘅。不過比起其餘嗰8個 number 咧，我哋又真係好似好多時都被情所困咁樣，真係會令人會覺得我哋好多情嘅。
咁但係情又係乜嘢嘅一回事咧？
咁其實情好闊㗎，有對父母嘅情啦，對兄弟姊妹嘅情啦，友情啦咁。不過我諗最困擾我哋嘅就係啲痴情咯。同埋因為情而帶嚟嘅好多嘅傷痛。
咁啊，如果大家咧想知道我哋有幾咁多情咧，就留意我哋個節目啦。逢星期4晚夜晚10點正，練心堂濃本多情。
Oh, well, we just now find out money is more than just cash, just dollar. It's relationship building, and that's something we are going to talk about. Rosann, I was such a surprise when you said all your tradition, your mom's tradition is so much like the Chinese tradition, and women gather together, save money in order to support each other. So what are the purpose of those money other than market money? Why do they need extra money then?
Well, one example that stands out in my mind is that women of childbearing age sometimes found themselves pregnant and they just knew they could not have another baby. Now, abortion was illegal, couldn't happen. Where could you do it reliably? The woman might not tell her husband or her sisters or her mother. Too much shame connected.
Yes, yes.
But there might be 5 women who pool their money, and she says to her friends, I can't have this baby. And they say to her, use that money for that. Because they know how threatening it might be
Wow.
if she has that child, or if her husband or her mother knew about it. So we have layers of secrecy and trust connected with the use of money.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think women secretly put aside money. Apart from your story is very interesting. I can see there must be a lot of support because of that. And another common use of this money from a Chinese family is to help their children.
Oh, of
Right.
course.
You can
of
imagine
course, of course.
at that time, a lot of women might not be able to get educated. So
Yes.
when they have children, maybe the father is still very discriminating, thinking I will only support the son but not the daughter. And occasionally you will see those mother will say, okay, look, daughter, actually you are smarter than the son. And
Yes.
I don't see why you are not being given this opportunity to study, right? So mom will secretly give you the money, at least buy you the ticket or maybe the first payment of your tuition. But then after that, you have to work on your own and
Yes.
support yourself. But you can imagine this kind of support from the mother with her saving is so
Precious.
how do I say, so precious,
So
right?
precious.
You can imagine the daughter with that money, all the blessing behind it, right?
Yes.
And I remember once there's a Chinese woman told me, and she's from China. Actually, when her mom gave her the money so that she can leave the countryside to go to the city, the money was so old. They had been kept for such a long time, and she used 2 handkerchief to wrap them.
Yes.
And so when the daughter opened it up and sort of opened up, it's all dirt and maybe some worms. And, she felt such a blessing. And
Yes.
she just tell herself, I must make it. I don't
Yes.
want to disappoint my mom.
Yes.
And even though my mom secretly give me money to go to the city, she knows that once her father noticed that the daughter is gone, obviously someone is support, her mom is going to suffer,
of course.
right? So you can see money
Oh.
is something that will make the woman change her life completely,
Absolutely.
right? And there's a lot of secret behind it.
Yes.
Out of love, out of support, out of shame. There's so many things.
And sometimes the mother might have a sister or an aunt who didn't have children or whose children grew up, and the mother will just the auntie will just say,
Yes.
this is for your daughter, she
Yeah.
has to go to school.
Yeah.
I never had the chance
Yes.
to go
yes.
to school.
Yes.
I'm too old. My life is too here, but she has the chance. So a collective of women, again, one auntie, another auntie,
Yes.
this girl's going to have a chance to leave that village, leave that town, or go to a better school. Maybe she could go to a state school or community school.
Yes.
But then 3 aunties and the mother say, no, you're going to a better school.
Yes.
What does that do
And
to
chip
the girl?
in the money, right?
Chip in the money.
Yeah.
Chip in the money.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
I remember mom told me when she finally finished her secondary school, not exactly finished, maybe halfway, she has to go out to work. And when she first got her salary, you know what she did? She told herself, I must save up the money, so maybe in 6 months' time, I can go out to the jewelry shop and buy my first little piece of gold. You can
Oh,
imagine
yes,
at that
yes,
time,
yes, yes,
the
yes.
little piece of gold is so precious.
Absolutely.
And I remember when I was in my 30s, and once my mom took her to her safety box, and she opened up it, to show me, this is it. And I saw these little pieces of gold, and she said, well, these little pieces of gold add up to be quite a lot. right?
And that's
and to her is so important. It's like a symbol of her effort, you know, in
course.
saving and supporting the family. And you know, another thing about Chinese, when you get married,
Yes.
your parents will give you gold as is it dowry? Right.
Yes.
And sometimes if your family is not rich enough, you have to save money to buy some of these gold bracelet in
yes.
order to earn your respect in the man's house, right?
Yes.
And all these to women is not exactly money, but it's very important.
Yes.
It's not like we want to pass this jewelry to our children. All these are more like a safety net. If something happened to herself, her husband, and her children, I know a lot of Chinese women will just go to the safety box, grab all those jewelries, and
Yes.
take it to a jewelry shop.
You want
and
cash.
You want cash.
When you
Right.
need it.
Yes.
That's investment.
That's investment.
That is investment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. So money and women can change to different format.
Change to different format. And as women grow older and they have the gold in the safe deposit box or they have diamond earrings, they can see, maybe I'm not going to need this money. So take those diamond earrings and give them to a younger woman or a woman who wants to go back to school.
Yes.
So we pass around jewelry as if it is money. But because it's personally ours,
Yes.
it carries much more emotional value
Yes.
than getting a loan from a bank or your Uncle Joe gave you this money.
Yeah.
Uncle Joe's very rich. It doesn't matter to him whether you give $1,000 or $10,000. But your auntie's diamond earrings, that's something she's had for 50 years.
Yes.
Now she wants to give it to you.
Yeah,
Means
sentimental value.
Means so
you know,
much.
when we talk about the young people today are not very keen on saving, one thing I have noticed in the past maybe 15, 20 years, a lot of young women, when they came to see me, they may break up with their boyfriend or maybe they have some relationship issue. And they always say something like that, oh, I'm smarter now. I used to be so romantic. I have my high school sweetheart and then I met someone in my university thinking we are going to work hard and struggle. No, now the relationship is over. I'm going to marry rich. Thinking,
And she thinks she's going to do that.
if I do not make enough money, make sure I marry someone that is rich, then money will keep on coming in. And that's quite different, right? And when we were
Quite
young,
different.
our parents never teach us to marry rich in order to have a good life. I don't know about you. Maybe some
I
parents.
think it was
did-
discussed.
yeah.
I think it was discussed
Really?
because there were a few people that my mother wanted me to marry that I did not marry.
And they're rich.
And she said, you can learn to love him later. So it's different at different times.
Different
in
family
people's
education.
lives. Different times. But there is this, let's do the traditional dream
yeah.
and the today dream. Traditional dream, it was not uncommon for saving some jewelry, but also, tell me if they have this in Chinese culture, something called a hope chest.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that was a chest that when put at the end of the girl's bed, so it was made out of wood, might be camphor lined, and over her teenage years, she would get pillowcases, sheets, towels.
Wow.
So it would be dry goods, linen goods,
Yeah.
that were not to be used now. It was for her marriage.
Really? Oh, we don't have
So
that.
this is a hope chest, a chest specifically designed and sold, marketed as this is what you give girls when they're 12 or 14 or 15. You get your hope chest.
Yes.
And then your relatives begin to fill in
Ooh,
the hope chest.
we should have that tradition.
So when you get married to Mr. Wonderful, the man of your dreams, you bring all of these beautiful
Okay,
linens.
Okay.
Now, some of the linens were crocheted on the end. So there was some lace patterns.
Yes, yes.
Hand done by, again, an auntie, a grandma, a neighbor who we want her to have something nice for her home.
Yes.
We don't have cash to buy her, but we can make it with threads.
Wow.
So that's again family support. Now you contrast that with our lovely ladies of 22, 32. They know they can get equal education.
Yes.
They know they're going to get a job. So why would they want some cloth that somebody else picked out? Why would they want
They
that?
will not appreciate that.
Would not appreciate it at all. Not appreciate it at all.
Well, I think for the last 15, 20 years or even more, when people get married, they just give you a list, which department store they have registered, and you go there and pick something. And it's like,
Quite commercial.
yeah,
isn't it?
very commercial.
Now, can a girl fall in love with a rich guy as easily as she can fall in love with a poor, struggling fellow? The answer to that is yes, she could. Because falling in love is an attitude. It happens. You can only say that, by the way, when you're over 50. You got to get through the whole romantic, Prince Charming, he's going to sweep me off my feet. Maybe you don't want to be swept off your feet. Maybe you just want a pair of warm slippers. Depends what you want.
I think women will gradually become more practical, pragmatic.
practical.
Instead of all this romance,
Yes.
it's not going to put food on your table. But the thing is, marry for money. The danger is, I don't know about you, can be quite disappointing. If this man you are thinking of, he's like a born rich, the second, third generation rich
Yes.
guy, I'm a little bit worried. I don't know whether his family really teach him how to use his money wisely. Can be quite dangerous, because if he didn't make the money himself, it's from his grandfather or his father, he might not be so good at handling money, right?
But Dorothy, my dear,
Yeah.
it depends on
Uh-huh.
what the woman wants
Uh-huh.
and her stage in life. Because if she's 28, 30, 32, she might want to have a baby. So marriage means I want to get married, I want to have a nice wedding, I want to have a baby, maybe 2 babies. How can she think of life when she's 50? She's seeing herself as a young mother,
Yes.
and she knows she cannot earn enough money to do that. So George, who has a little bit of money from his father and his grandfather, begins to look very appealing.
Yes.
Now, how can we tell her when she wants so much to have a baby that George might not be the right man for the rest of her life? She might say to you, it doesn't matter.
Well,
But
true.
remember, we're dealing with women who they know they have an education, they know they can earn money, they know that other women will help get them jobs. So women are on the ascent job-wise,
Yes.
but they still have this biological calling to have a child. So I hear you that George didn't earn the money, his father didn't earn the money, the grandfather struggled to get the money.
Yeah.
But George says, oh, she's so nice looking and she wants to marry me. George, you fool! She wants you to father the children and pay for their education. How do you know what life is going to be?
Yeah.
And George says, well, I never made much money. I'm living off my father's money. Exactly why she wants you, George. Exactly. Complications in
Yeah.
new marriages. What does wealth mean? What does money mean? What does wealth mean?
But if you start your relationship in the wrong foot,
Yes.
I'm a little bit concerned, because, if you think you have we call it a free meal ticket in Hong Kong, we call it free meal ticket.
Yes.
The danger is, what happens if one day that ticket expire? You seem to lose all your not self-esteem. It's you lose your ability to make money, and especially if you marry rich, you have keep a lifestyle that is so expensive, right? I remember once there was this girl told me, she is from middle income family. She married rich, and everything she used in this new household was like a 5-star hotel thing.
Wow.
And after 10 years, she had 2 children, and something happened to the family fortune, right? And the man is just not good at this kind of sudden change of family
Yes.
situation,
Yes.
and he became so depressed, and she would need to support him. But the thing is, she cannot even go back to like a regular store to get something for her children.
Because now her lifestyle is
Yes.
she wants the higher class stuff,
Yes.
the more expensive
Right.
items.
And the children, ever since they were baby, they wear they want the best clothes, right? Even diapers, maybe the best diaper.
Right.
So the thing is, if your concept with money is not from you work hard in order to gain it, there will be some consequence in the future. Oh, obvious, I give you all the blessing. If he's really rich, a tycoon, he'll give you a good life up to 120 years old, right? But somehow if something happened, women with so little sense of money can be heading disaster. And I at that time, it's so hard to re-educate a woman.
Yes, and Dorothy, because while there is that woman for whom marriage was the goal, she's got a cousin who's a sassy sister who is not so sure marriage is the goal. And she might want to have a child, maybe not, but she wants to keep working. She doesn't consider marriage the main goal in her life. She doesn't consider the relationship with one man the way that's going to make her fully happy. So at the same time in Hong Kong, we have traditional values, the want for a long-term relationship and love, and we have, don't give me that stuff. I'm going to work and make my own money, and maybe I'll get married and maybe I won't. Maybe I'll have a child and maybe I won't. Because times they are a-changing. Times they are a-changing. Yeah. Well, that's where we are for this segment, talking about money and relationships.
Yeah.
We're on to that. We'll talk more about it next segment.
Dorothy 啊，啲人咧成日話我哋九型人格嘅4號仔咧，就硬係咧好多愁善咁，又分外多情嘅喎。你點睇呢一樣嘢？
咁就見仁見智嘅。不過比起其餘嗰8個 number 咧，我哋又真係好似好多時都被情所困咁樣，真係會令人會覺得我哋好多情嘅。
咁但係情又係乜嘢嘅一回事咧？
咁其實情好闊㗎，有對父母嘅情啦，對兄弟姊妹嘅情啦，友情啦咁。不過我諗最困擾我哋嘅就係啲痴情咯。同埋因為情而帶嚟嘅好多嘅傷痛。
咁啊，如果大家咧想知道我哋有幾咁多情咧，就留意我哋個節目啦。逢星期4晚夜晚10點正，練心堂濃本多情。
Well, it's like whenever we talk about money, we can at least have 2 more episodes to talk about money. Because money is something that I don't know about Western tradition. But in Chinese tradition, we tend to, it's not polite to talk about money.
So true.
Yeah, I think up to now we still don't ask about people how much you made, right?
Yes.
It's not right. And also, it's so hard when people said they don't have money, you will not say bluntly, did you save money? How much money you save up to now, right?
Yes.
But you hear a lot of young people these days actually have no savings. No.
That's I
was shocked.
It's hard for me to know this, because you must have some savings. No, Rosann, have no savings.
No savings. They just every month make sure their monthly salary can cover up, can cover all the expenses. And actually, there's a term we call it the monthly use up group. They use up everything by the end of the month.
Oh wow!
And they need the paycheck in order to move on to next week.
Yes.
So in your 20s, you still can say I'm young.
Yes.
But just imagine if you are 30 something and you have no saving. And actually, Rosann, I have some clients in the mid 40s.
No savings.
No savings.
Okay, well, you got to wake up, folks. The handwriting's on the wall. You're going to need some money yourself. So what kinds of suggestions can we make for people? It's the attitude, and then there's the practice.
Yes.
So what can we
Well, I think basically all the banks in Hong Kong are trying to encourage you to do at least some saving. Even though the interest rate is very discouraging, But the thing is, if every month you manage to put aside 20% of your income, at the end of the year you'll be quite happy, right?
Yes.
At least that money is safe, right? And you can use this for some sort of investment.
Yes.
About 6 months ago, I went to a finance course. It's so
Yes.
interesting. I felt that I need to have a complete new understanding of the stock market, investment.
Yes.
And the professor who retired 10 years ago and now is teaching a course mainly for the society, for the young people, he said something I really appreciate. He said, if you are now in your late 20s or early 30s, you better start saving. At least save up to $500,000. So it's
Wow.
$500,000. That's a lot, right? In some man, right? That's not a small sum. But if you are young, it might take you maybe another 5 to 10 years to do that. So if you start in your 20s, by mid 30s, you already have it. But don't worry so much about buying an apartment. But the key is you need to start knowing all the investment product. He is not asking us to be a speculator,
Yes.
right? Not
Yes.
that. It's just you need to know in the money market there are certain stocks or certain bonds that can help you to save up money. And in order the inflation will not eat up all your savings.
Yes.
So learn some basic finance knowledge together with this. Start with maybe, I would say $500,000 is too much, maybe 100,000,
Yes.
right? Gradually let that money roll. The time is on your side. If you start doing it when you are 45, 50 or even 55, it's too late. You don't have that much time. And I would say, as you mentioned earlier in your, I think in your first section, maybe have a group of girlfriends
Yes.
to support each other, especially those women that always hang out with you. Maybe you tell them, okay, today we're going to go out, have a drink, go to Lan Kwai Fong. Instead of keep on cubbing, maybe we'll stop at the second round and we'll save up those money. And I think that would be a good habit.
So then you can take $200 home
Yes.
rather than you don't have the $200.
Good. It
Yes.
ruin your health and you don't develop your habit of saving. And I think that's a good idea. I remember this young
Yes.
woman, she really can drink a lot. She studied in the States and all her girlfriends these days can drink. And she told me easily, 4 women have a night out, ladies' night out, night out, they can easily drink 3 bottles of wine.
Yes.
You can imagine, right? It's not going to be like a $100 bottle of wine. So easily over $2,000, all right, with a little bit of snacks and talking. And I said, you just cut 1 bottle of wine and
Yes.
save those money.
What Dorothy and I are talking about is how to get the one who's not alert about money to save. But
Yes.
to save, you must know how much is going out every day.
Yes.
How much is going out every day? And it might help. And this is what I say, get yourself a little notebook, just a little notebook to start listing.
Yes.
It's Monday. How many things did I buy today?
Yeah.
MTR card,
Mm-hmm.
some coffee, some snack.
Yeah.
Bought lunch for my friend.
Yes. Yeah.
Came home.
Yeah.
How much did I spend today?
Mm.
Just keep track,
Track.
of how much is going out
Mm-hmm.
every day
Mhm.
so that you become aware of how much you're spending.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's different from how much
Exactly.
you're worth.
Uh-huh.
That's different from how much you should be paid.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to know. Now, I work with, you went to the financial counselor and said so much money. I say to each and every working woman, you need 3 months' salary
At least.
in the bank
Yes.
so that if you get sick, you can't work, you get fired. Oh, I won't be fired. You don't know that, sweetheart. But we need to pile up, stockpile,
Yes.
3 months of salary that you don't touch. That's your emergency money.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know, but Rosann, I'm not saving it. Okay, let's start with $20 a day. Can we save $100 a day? At the end of the month, how much? Let's start with where you are.
Yes.
Where are you in money?
And
You think I need
you
3
have this
months?
little black book.
Your little black book.
But now with technology, actually,
yeah.
there's a lot of good apps.
Of course you could
Yeah.
do this. You can get your own
So
little...
easy. It's just whether you are willing to record it down.
But you need to do that.
You know
to
the
be
pattern.
conscious of money. How much do you spend? How much do you need to live on? And we can talk about budgets. And of course you can do it on your electronic devices. But give yourself that little bit of a self-inquiry. Whatever the day of the week is that you're watching this program, can you keep track of your spending for 1 week?
Yes, yes. That is
Where are
that
you?
is a good start.
Just 1 week. It's part of your identity. It's part of who you are. Why should a woman say, I don't know how much I'm spending? What's the matter with you? Do you know how many calories you're eating each day? Do you know how much energy you need for the day? Of course you need to know how much you're spending each day. Yeah. Oh, wow. But then what we invest. Now this theme with the banks of building a little stockpile. If you can get 3 months, that's your emergency money.
Yeah.
Let's build another 3 months that we're going to invest.
Yes, yes.
Now, why do we want women to invest?
Well, the thing is, if we just keep on putting in on the bank, the interest rate is
Very
so low, right? A little bit of investment, you actually, if you live in Hong Kong is one of the 4 big finance investment cities. And it's kind of embarrassing if you have no idea what's going on, right? Obviously, you are not those people that can stare at the computer every day and check on the price. But ever since I went to this finance course, I realized it's nothing that complicated.
No.
Right. You are just learning the basic and already can keep you going.
Yes.
You are not doing like a crazy man with 3 computers and doing all the investment. And I also think that when you start to look into investment, you also have some idea what's going on with the economy.
That's a very important thing
Right.
to know.
So as you said just now, some people have no idea that they can be fired because you have no understanding with what's going on in the political world these days and the economical world. Is the whole stock market is a political
It absolutely.
the political
And
issue
globally.
And
not
globally,
only
right.
in Hong Kong, but
Yes.
what's going on in the
Right.
world.
Yeah.
Yes.
So your willingness to learn on that it makes you survive. Right. Living in today's woman now, you need to go. You need to know what's going on. All right. And also sometimes women will invest in jewelries, and that's another thing that's pretty stupid because 10 years back, I have this woman who married a very successful gynecologist. So they had a very good life. And every time her husband gave her some money, more like a yearly bonus, for being a good wife,
Oh, wonderful.
she went out and brought some very fancy jewelry.
Oh.
And for almost 20 years, so she had like 2-3 safety box of fancy jewelry. But then one day something happened to her family, and the husband had a pretty big accident. No longer can work, and there's some really bad thing that they need money. I would say 80% of jewelry are worthless because those are fancy jewelries.
Yes.
Those people think when you brought it can cost you maybe $300,000. But when you bring back to a jewelry shop, they'll say, "Oh yeah, these are not big
style now."
diamonds. So these are all because it's expensive because of the handcraft. So now it's about 10% of your original price.
Wow.
Some not even willing to take it back, right? Because
Oh.
when she brought it, is at that time the fashion. So you
Yes.
can imagine 20 years later, if you are buying a fashion kind of jewelry, it means nothing. So now the women are much smarter when the husband or the boyfriend buys, I just want diamond. carrot.
Yes.
And it must be is it GIA or whatever.
Right,
I need a cert. So the moment the boyfriend or husband gave the diamond to the woman, actually the woman is calculating, how much money I can get back from that diamond.
Isn't she good to calculate?
Yeah,
She's
well,
good to
so
calculate.
in a way it's not stupid, right? Because you see all this fancy jewelry means nothing, right?
Oh.
But my mom always suggests, go back to gold.
Always gold. Diamonds and gold always work.
Yes.
Always
yes,
work.
Yes.
But let's go on to this investment.
Yes.
Because as soon as you start calculating, you become aware of how much you're spending.
Yes.
You've got your 3 months.
Yes.
You've got another 3 months you started to invest.
Yes.
But then you're looking at your job. I'm talking about a single woman here. Make her married if you want.
Yes.
In your job, is this bringing what you want? Is it bringing enough money?
Okay.
And is it bringing job satisfaction? Now, two different things. Because we all need money, and how much we need varies. Job satisfaction. Do you want to keep doing this job? Lovely, lovely 50-year-old woman saw me last week, and she said, when I finished school, I wanted so much to work in a big office. I was happy to be a secretary, and I'm a secretary, and I had cash flow all the time.
Yes.
But now I realize, because of other things happening in her life, I really would like to have gone to school to be a teacher, to work with children who have handicap of some kind, learning disabilities. So I said to her, Gloria, why did you not do that? And she said, well, I was in my 30s. I thought I was too old to change. In my 40s, I was too old to change. And I think I regret. Regret comes 50, 60. What is it you regret? I regret not going back for the training. That would have been a better investment for me. Now she's 50. She has some cash, but not a lot. Her education level is not high enough to bring her up the career ladder.
Yes. Oh.
So maybe we're talking to our women in their 30s and 40s about invest in yourself. For some of you, it's a higher degree or diploma.
Yes.
For some, it might be learning another language.
Yes. You brought up a very important point.
Yes.
When we talk to women, they are willing to invest their money on their children's education or extracurricular activities, another piano class and other drawing class, but they are not willing to invest on themselves. And I think that's that I'm not saying they're stupid, but I think they didn't see the long-term thing. Your education or your profession might not be able to take you all the way to your retirement. Especially now, people have to change at least 4 or 5 jobs in order to reach maybe 55 or 60. But if you never use the money to invest on your abilities, your intelligence, it's very dangerous. A lot of women are willing to spend money on their clothing, on their hair, on their makeup, but they are not willing to spend money on their intelligence, on their acquiring new skills, new language. And that's very important. Money, where to spend it? Spend it on who?
And are you spending it or are you investing?
Yes. But if you are investing it in your future, that will create more money for you, right?
Well, it's one of the things we really have to balance. If you're doing a job that's bringing you enough money or even a surplus of money, but it's not bringing you inner contentment or satisfaction, then there's a possibility that this stress is going to have a negative impact on your body.
On your body. And then you have to spend money on your body.
Then you have to spend money on your body. So there's a wonderful, wonderful fitness counselor who says when a woman spends money on her body, it's truly to get stronger, to get bigger, to get thinner, to get firmer, whatever she wants, then it's truly an investment in herself.
Yes.
When she buys jewelry, she gives it to somebody else.
Yes.
So for women, spending money on your own development, whether it's physical development or intellectual development or emotional satisfaction.
Yeah, yeah. Right.
You need to sort out what's going on with you. Invest in yourself, not something that you give to somebody else.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
I think you taught me something very important. It's like what I will tell my client from now on is when they come to see me, they will always say something like, "Oh, I don't want to spend so much money on myself."
Yes.
Going to see a counselor is spend money on myself.
Right.
But I'm going to change it to say, you are investing on your well-being.
Yes.
And
you're
your
investing.
well-being is
You are
so
investing.
is so important. So
Yeah.
you are not spending, you are investing. Yes, I like that word.
All right.
So we come to this section where we are going to talk about one movie and maybe a book.
Maybe a
and
book, yeah.
and actually when we talk about money topic, I really had a hard time thinking of a movie that focused on women and money. But then suddenly a movie popped up in my brain.
Oh, good.
And because the movie name is a little bit long, so I want to be sure I don't say it wrong. It's actually one of my favorite actress, Meryl Streep movie. I think it came out last year. It's called Florence Foster Jenkins. And I don't know whether you know about it. This lady, I think she was a New Yorker. And the thing is, she was so rich, but she cannot sing. And her dream was to be a singer. But the thing is, she just out of tune. I think she's tone deaf. But she was so rich, and she married a Hugh Grant, all right? And in that movie, he was like, just not a good, not a bad man. He would take care of Meryl, but it's not that kind of relationship because Meryl actually had cancer. But he stayed with her because she had the money and he really respect her, and she allowed him to have relationship outside. So it's more like a mutual codependent kind of relationship. But why I think of this movie when we talk about money is because when you have the money, where are you going to spend it?
Yes.
Right? I can see that Meryl really want to have a partner.
Yes.
So she spent the money on the husband. And her dream was to be a singer. So she managed to hire the best teacher to teach her how to sing opera. And she even had enough money to perform at the Carnegie Hall.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Yes.
But you can imagine, she's from the upper class. All the people that she invited to the concert was like the upper class people. And they all knew that she cannot sing. And they came. Right, but secretly they were laughing, behind her back. But this movie was kind of can sort of echo what you said. She's just investing her money on
herself.
what she really wants to do.
Yeah.
So I really recommend, if you have not seen this movie, it should be somewhere at the Netflix or go to the go out and buy the DVD. And you are going to talk about your book, right?
I want the book that we covered in one of the earlier ones.
Yes.
The Girl at the Baggage Claim.
Oh yes, that
The Girl
book.
at the Baggage Claim. Remember, this is a Chinese girl living in the United States. But my picture is not that one Chinese girl. But do imagine that so many of us are traveling. You're at the airport and someone's claiming a bag. If I tell you it's an Asian woman, what do you know about her? You can look at her clothes, you can look at her hairstyle, and begin to think you know who she is. But you don't know how she spends her money. You don't know who paid for the clothes or the jewelry or the luggage.
Yes.
You don't know anything about her. Let me switch. She's a Western woman. And you say, oh, why did I assume that the Chinese woman knows more about money? Why did I assume the Western woman is probably working, but the Chinese woman is not? So the Girl at the Baggage Claim tells us about what people look like on the outside. We've discussed enough about life stage and differences between age and stage. We've talked some about relationships, but that's coming up next time. The thing is, Dorothy began with, what is this inner character of us? What do people get to know about us? What do we let them know about us? What do we allow ourselves to share with the potential partner or partners, as that might be. So the girl you see might not be the woman inside. And that's why we need to look at her cultural setting, her stage in life, her whole identity.
Yes.
Her whole identity, yeah.
So next week we are going to focus on the big thing, right?
The big thing is relationships. All our life, we deal with relationships. Easy to love. When you're a baby, everybody loves you. When kids are 6 or 7, everybody loves you. Kids get to be 11. Oh, we're not so sure we love those kids anymore. Teenagers make so much noise, we're not so sure we love them. But women in their 20s and 30s and 40s, what do we know about them? Dare we talk to a woman who's in her 70s or 80s? What will we talk about?
Yeah.
What will we talk about? So it's women now and then. You're now. You're then.
Yes.
Different from you're now and then.
Yeah. So see you next week.